everybody, thanks for joining us and welcome to the 29th episode of Fight Like the Movies, the tutorial series where we study cinema's most epic fight scenes and employ what we discover to develop a deeper understanding of film combat. I'm your instructor TJ Cencula, and this week's lesson, King Arthur. Since there are so many on-screen depictions of Arthurian legend, instead of focusing on a particular film, let's do a study of King Arthur and his knight's violent quest through cinema. The quest is upon us! Roll it! The first stop on our quest is the 1953 MGM CinemaScope feature Knights of the Round Table, directed by Richard Thorpe with Mel Ferrer as Arthur. Shining armor can only do so much and doesn't exactly prevent these knights from falling off their horses, getting their helmets knocked off, getting kicked, tackled, or pushed off cliffs. 1975's Monty Python's Quest for the Holy Grail, directed by Terry Gilliam and Terry Jones, stars Graham Chapman as the king and boasts one of the most memorable and most quoted scenes of any adaptation. In this comedic cult classic parody, Arthur rents limb from body with the greatest of ease, but as we all know, it's merely a flesh wound. In the 1981 film Excalibur, director John Boorman centers his story around Arthur's famed sword. The scope of the telling is massive and follows Arthur from conception to cremation. He employs heavy armor, hard hits, and embraces the fantasy elements of Arthur mythos, featuring Nigel Terry as the king and Nicol Williamson as Merlin, the most quintessential archetypal wizard of all time. First Knight, released in 1995 and directed by Jerry Zucker, subtracts the fantastic and highlights the romantic, focusing on the love triangle between Lancelot Guinevere and Sean Connery's King Arthur. Lancelot serves as the primary protagonist, and swordcraft is his way of life. You might catch subtle nods to the common lore from time to time, but you'll find no mention of magic, illegitimate children, and even Excalibur's merely any other sword. Clean and precise choreography with regular payoffs invites the audience into the action, and frequent fast-paced fight sequences make this maybe the best date movie of all time. The 1998 two-part television miniseries Merlin, directed by Steve Barron and starring Sam Neill as the Great Wizard, not only centers around magic, Arthur himself, played by Paul Curran, is reduced to somewhat of a secondary character, contributing to but a small portion of Merlin's rather extraordinary story. The primary villain is Queen Mab, much better known for her brief mention of Mercutio's speech in Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet than for any involvement in Arthur's story, but she comes out to play. Combat mechanics are considerably versatile, consisting of invisible fortifications, the materialization of objects, and the bending of elemental forces. Michael Byrne as Merlin makes a few brief appearances in the 2001 television miniseries Mists of Avalon from director Uli Adel, based on the very long book of the same name by Marion Zimmer Bradley, but the main focus of the story is Arthur's half-sister Morgane, also known in some versions as Morgana or Morgan Le Fay. Arthur, played by Edward Atherton, goes toe-to-toe with his son in a hard-hitting climactic duel to the death. In 2004, producer Jerry Bruckheimer brings forth King Arthur, directed by Antoine Fuqua and starring Clive Owen. Stephen Delane appears as Merlin, but there be no magic here. This version imagines a realistic Arthur based on the popularly held belief that the man Arthur really lived sometime in the 5th or 6th century and united the disparate Celtic forces against Saxon invaders. In spite of being the most historically plausible, the fighting is the most stylized and high concept of any version, using ultra-low camera angles and rapid-fire editing. The BBC's television series Merlin, starring Colin Morgan, ran from 2008 to 2012, in what might very well be the longest-form telling of the tale in a visual medium. This version casts Merlin and Arthur, played by Bradley James, as contemporaries. It features all kinds of combat magic, from object displacement to energy blasts. Merlin even uses magic to disguise himself as an elderly version of himself. The fight scenes are often enhanced with the use of dynamic time warp effects, such as slow motion combined with speed ramping techniques. And check out the sweet chain lightning attack! From Gandalf to Dumbledore down to your very own World of Warcraft warlock, Merlin provides the template for pretty much every wizard in his wake. Just as Arthur is the once and future king, the greatest legends of the past influence the stories of our present day, and elements of Arthur's quest finds its way into our contemporary legends. Don't we all have our own personal Grail quest? Let's meet the valiant knights and ladies of our round table. Tis but a scratch. Put a band-aid on those wounds and steady yourself for action. For the class today, we wanted to really make the most of our heavy weapons, and even though all manner of different weapons are used throughout medieval Europe and in Arthurian legend, everyone knows the most important artifact of the entire series is that one sword, Excalibur. You know if a sword has a cool name like that, it's important. So we did a sword on shield showdown. One of the main challenges that I imposed upon the class today with our fight is how rapidly and frequently the distance changes. So you have to find some way to fluidly and naturally manage the energy. One of the most commonly held misconceptions is that the fight is about the weapon, but the fact is the weapon is not in and of itself interesting. When Excalibur is in the stone, it is just an object. It's basically just a really cool prop. What makes the fight interesting is not Excalibur, it's Arthur. It's our investment in his character that makes it interesting. We can take that exact same concept and translate it technically into the way that our body moves. When we make the fight about the weapon, it winds up looking much more disconnected from our character's actual intention. So when you're doing it for performance sake, instead of energizing the weapon and giving it this life of its own, where it really can't hurt the other guy even if they're defending it with a shield, you want to engage the body. Let the body do all of the work. The rotation of the torso with the weapon in hand is going to look a lot more powerful than if you're just smacking away at it like this really hard anyway. Sometimes actors equate hitting harder with it looking better, but the fact of the matter is that's not true. The more engaged the body is, the more powerful the fight in question will appear. I want you to imagine a medieval collision like two Mack trucks moving at 120 miles per hour towards each other. They don't just go like this and bounce off. They go, and you have bending and twisting metal, and things move in directions that are hard to predict. Your body does the exact same thing. So when we collide, we don't simply want people to bump up against each other like this. We want to see all of this twisting action. The body moves in very dynamic ways. So for our class fight, we wanted to take advantage of the human body's range of motion, play with a lot of different reactions, and I really encourage the class to go too far. Make the most of their movement, discover the range of your body, and utilize all of the space that you have to tell the most compelling and interesting story possible.
Thank you, old friend, for joining me for one last battle. It breaks this father's heart that it must be against my own son.
Well, that's what happens when you commit incest. I warned you.
Thanks for not rubbing it in.
Slay him and the kingdom shall be ours. You shall have your rightful place on the throne as king.
As you wish, mother. Well, I'm off then.
Mother says it's time to die, Father.
You're sure you don't want me to bend you over my knee, spank your bottom, and call it a day?
I'd rather place it on your throne.
Have it your way.
Nothing short of holy grail shall save him from this deadly flame.
No grander sword can Arthur wield. Bolster it with mighty shield!
Flames of Hades rising higher, imbue his soul with demon fire.
This fire can be surpassed by skill. Tame it with a frosty chill! Cold shoulder, eh? Old man jokes are best.
Transcending all divinity with my unholy trinity.
Three are the one only number. Arise in thine from thy summer!
Master using it, and you can have this. But be warned, only the once and future king may draw the sword from the Yes! I'm the ultimate hero! Ha! Swish, swish, yeah!
Oh, come on! What? No! I suppose everyone can just grab a silver stone. There's nothing sacred anymore!
Get him!
I might as well open up a store that says, it's dangerous going alone, take this! Wonder if Hyrule is looking for a wise man. Screw it, I'm gonna be a sage.
Special thanks to Ken Dickinson for playing the marvelous and magical Merlin, and Ellie LeMay for playing the malevolent Morgana. And that is a wrap. Hey, so thanks for checking out Fight Like the Movies. Your quest is to locate the long-lost like button. Go ahead and find it. Click it with that mouse cursor. If you successfully complete this mission, then you can move on to the more advanced quest, which is that subscribe button. Click it, and all the magic of the world of movies will unfold before you. But as we all know, the real magic of the world is the power of sharing. So pick out your best pals and send this video their way. While you're at it, why don't you check out some of our past episodes. You can also follow us on Facebook, where you can interact with the class, check out behind the scenes pictures and videos, and most importantly, start up a dialogue. We want to know what you think. You can also connect with us on Instagram and Twitter at Warrior Showdown. And even though we're out of production on Fight Like the Movies, there is still a standing invitation for you to come join us at Swordplay Studios Wednesday night, 8:30 to 10 p.m. to keep your skills and your sword sharp. All skill levels are welcome, and we would love to dub you a knight or lady of our court. And cut.